Let's see.
What month are we in? April.
All right. We are now live on YouTube.
Great. Okay, those are the minutes. Let me just open up the agenda, which is not in this folder somehow. Sorry, give me 1 second. Because I only sent it as a PDF, but I thought I sent it as a... there we go. Okay, so we can call the meeting to order at 6:33. We have Tess and Catherine both present.
Yep.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for running the meeting.
Okay. So the first order of business, it does not, Catherine, I can't tell. Is there anybody from the public on tonight?
No, there are no attendees from the public.
Okay.
As of now, yeah.
As of now. Okay, the first order of business is motion A to approve the Gtlnc March 9th, 2022 Outreach and Elections Committee minutes.
First.
Thank you, Tess. Catherine, I know you did not attend that meeting, so I will second that. Did everybody have a chance to review actually you did attend the meeting.
I did. I was only there for part of it though, so I probably will abstain.
Right.
I want to just make one clarification. On item 5, committee member news and announcements.
Yes.
That I want to issue a community impact statement.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Can you, I guess, correct that to say that I want to request a financial and performance audit?
Okay. Yes.
So add financial.
Community. Add financial to perform.
Yeah, so request a financial and performance audit.
Got it.
And can you spell out the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment?
Sure.
Because many people reading this might not know the acronym. And then you could put DONE in parentheses.
Good note.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so with those adjustments, and now because there have been adjustments, we do the roll call vote, right?
Yes.
Okay, so as amended, can we approve the Gtlnc March 9th, 2022 Outreach and Elections Committee minutes as amended?
Yes.
Tess is voting yes. Catherine?
Abstain.
Abstain. And I am a yes. So that is a 2-0-1, and the minutes are approved.
Excellent.
Great. Excellent. Moving on, as there are no members of the public, I guess we can go right to committee member news and announcements.
We actually do have one person who's joined the meeting.
Great. In that case, Jonathan, if there's anything you'd like to say, this is our public comment period. Thanks for being here.
Maybe he's trying to unmute himself.
No, he hasn't raised his hand
Yeah, I
to
don't see a
speak.
hand up. Okay, in that case, then we can move on to the committee member news and announcements. Tess, did you want to follow up at all on the issue from last month about the audit?
Yeah, I've actually found possibly a better alternative, and I've done some research and I'm waiting to get some information back. So let's put a pin in it for now and keep it on the agenda.
Okay.
I'm not ready to draft a statement for the general board meeting this month, but I may for next month. So in the works.
Okay.
And yeah, and so there's been a number of neighborhood councils that have already done this, which, it's worth having a look at. Thank you.
Okay.
I do have one thing that I want to, excuse me, that I want to flag on the outreach front. Actually, I guess it's sort of two things, but they're both related to TYS. The first is Colby has been diligently working to figure out with the city what exactly is going on with TYS and getting them paid and getting that all up to date.
Yeah, I think that's resolved.
I don't believe so, because I was
got some
seeing some
notices
emails go
about
back
payments.
and forth
Oh, okay.
just today and yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So there might be a little more information by the time we have our executive committee meeting next week, and certainly I hope by the time we have a general. So
Okay.
just
Yeah.
a flag for you on that.
Yeah.
And then another TYS related thing is we currently have a website, votetolucalake.org.
Yes.
Which is the website we use for elections. But because of the way TYS, who hosts the actual page, is updating some of their routing for it,
Mhm.
there's an issue. And like if you go to votetolucalake.org right now, the page won't load.
Okay.
At least it won't for me. I don't know if someone has a different experience, but
is it supposed to redirect?
so we need to go into the domain registry and update where it's pointing, basically. And
Okay.
it's not currently owned by Gtlnc. It's owned by on the personal account of a former board member. So I've added something to the executive committee agenda to transfer that ownership, because there might be a small cost related to it, particularly when it's time to renew the registration with the domain registrar. So that's going to be on the executive committee agenda, just to make sure we take ownership of the domain and we're able to get that redirected and up and running, so that when we start working on election stuff towards the end of this year, we can access the website.
Yes, that would be great. And I am having the same. I just went to the website to try to make sure that I was experiencing the same issue, and it certainly does seem
Yeah, it
that's
says
the case.
lake.org is available for offers and purchase.
Oh, I don't even get that. I'm just getting
Vote
like a completely blank.
Yeah, tolucalake.org.
No. Vote
Votetolucalake.org.
Votetolucalake.org.
Yeah, so working on getting that resolved before we get into election season.
Yeah, that is.
So Colby is working diligently to resolve issues with the city. So I thought they were paid. Do you know what the status is, Catherine?
No, my understanding is that there's about $3,000 that's outstanding at the moment.
I had thought they were paid because I received several emails of payments being processed to them. But that, I guess I just assumed that was all of them. Maybe there were half of them got paid.
I think what the issue is they were paid for stuff from prior fiscal years, I believe. But from this fiscal year, they're still not up to date.
Got it.
So I haven't had a chance, honestly. I've seen the emails going in back and forth today, but I've been
sure.
I was at work until about 10 minutes ago. So I haven't had a chance to really read through everything.
Okay.
Maybe one day. Okay. All right.
They are being good sports, at least, about continuing the work in the meantime. So I guess that brings us to ongoing business. I'll skip right to the website status updates, just so that we're clear on that. Also, I believe all the changes have now been implemented. I do have to double check on the issue of the timing with the committee meetings disappearing. So they had made a suggestion. That was, I guess, a difficult thing to fix. And they had suggested one way that they were going to attempt to fix it while they continued to work on a potential longer fix. So I did not check tonight if our meeting disappeared like at 6:31, or if they're now actually staying up on the
so
site.
they've been actually attempting to fix it. Oh, wow.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And the issue was it required, a bit of development that would take, you know, a little more time. And they said in the meantime, what they could probably do was change. Yeah, it does look like I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I
our
don't see
meeting
Yeah,
show
it just
up
went
here.
there.
So it does not appear that they have fixed that issue. They were going to try to set the meetings to appear all day so that they would at least stay up
Yeah,
till
you
like
know,
midnight tonight. But he was not sure if that would work. And so this was we were testing that and it did not
okay.
appear.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a calendar program. I mean, I promote events, so I'm sure they can figure it out. All right. Well, thank God that somebody's looking at it. That's great.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because I had actually emailed him, I think last Thursday, and asked for kind of like a status check on where we were with that, but I have not heard back.
Oh my goodness. So Paige, what's the likelihood of you seizing control once all the payment issues are?
I
Or-
wish I knew. I mean, you know, at this point, we had talked several times about everyone being sort of comfortable with me having a login, you know, so long as I wasn't.
You know, more fine?
Yeah, well, you know, I wasn't like going in with a hammer. We also said the same thing about the newsletter, that, you know, like it would be fine for me to do that, but then it kind of just never really moves forward.
Well,
So
you know, let's push that, because there's no reason not to. You're capable, qualified, willing, able, and good at what you do. That's your job in your professional life, and it's a wasted resource. So
you know,
let's if you haven't submitted an agenda item to the executive committee, I suggest you do one now. You know, enabling access for outreach to the website and the newsletter. Could you do that?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Could
Could I?
you submit a agenda item, Robin, requesting access for outreach to the website and the newsletter as previously discussed?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Just remind them.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably our only hope at this time.
Well, look, I mean, some things like this issue with the calendars on the site, I mean, that's probably not something that I have the skill level to fix. I'm sure that that's, you know, beyond my purview, but I mean, there are things I would have liked to kind of clean up about the newsletter and
why not? All right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will.
Yeah, send it to her tonight and she'll get it on the agenda and you're good.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay. So the two main things that we wanted to go over were the promotional sticker and the homeless resource guide, to kind of hammer those out. The promotional sticker, I'll admit, after the general board meeting where everybody sort of generally approved of it, I kind of dropped the ball, meant to send you guys another copy just to make sure there were no other changes that we wanted to make. I did get the additional quote. I think we'll still go with the one printer who seemed to know the most about what we were trying to do. And I think his pricing was very reasonable. But I know there was some talk about maybe still wanting to make some changes to the design.
Yeah, what I recall, Paige, is that I think you were going to put a QR code into it.
Yes, and and I apologize. I should have sent that to you guys again.
Well, why don't you put in everything you want and then send it to us, and then we'll have it in time for.
That's the earlier one.
We'll have it.
If you have it available and want to share the screen.
I do. I have it on my. I thought I had it in my email, but it's on my. I apologize. It's on my other computer because of the design program.
No problem. You can circulate it.
What I'll do is circulate it to you two, and then just let me know if there are any other tweaks.
Well, let's see. What did I send you? I have a couple here.
You had sent me the swan photos, and then after that, I had modeled another version after kind of what you had.
Okay, so then you're the only one who has the most current version right now.
Yeah, that might be true. I think I showed it at the board meeting, but I guess I had not circulated it yet. So that's on me that I need to do that.
All right, yeah, send it to us with a QR code and then we can, hammer it out and get it done.
Okay, great. And then, I mean, I guess as a process question, I know Robin, I think, was the one who had asked during the general board meeting if they would have a chance to kind of see it before it went to print, which I think is fine, but I can't really send that over. I can't email everyone, right? What do I just send it to Robin and Colby for review?
But there's no reason you can't send it to everyone.
I just can't include them all on the same email, right?
So you have a couple options. The first is you can send it to everyone as a BCC.
Okay.
But I think it would be helpful if you did send it to Robin to post as meeting materials for the general meeting.
Okay.
So that, members of the public could also see it in advance of the meeting.
Okay.
If they have any thoughts. But yeah, the sort of workaround to avoid a serial meeting is if you send it BCC to the entire group, particularly because you're not actually asking them to do anything. You're simply providing them with reference material for what will be discussed at the meeting.
Okay, so we would still need to put it on the agenda again for this upcoming. I guess that was my question, is it because we already discussed it and approved the funding motion? But I guess now we could be approving the design.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of complicated, and the intent is really, the intent and the execution of the Brown Act is sometimes at odds because it wants to make sure the public is informed, but also in a lot of cases, the public really doesn't care if someone is requesting the font be changed to something else, Right. I do see Jonathan's hand up though.
Oh, great.
Jonathan, go ahead.
Thanks. Paige, what I wanted to mention, I don't often like to talk about anything like background. However, in this case, I ran the marketing of Gucci in Switzerland of the watches. Therefore, I've had a lot of experience having to do with what they call collateral material, which is what this is. And oftentimes, not only do you want the sticker, what I've seen so far of the sticker is very good. Okay, very pleased with it. What I recommend, and it has everything to do with cost, so it doesn't mean you have to do it, but it's a balance of cost for us. It's a community. The edges, these stickers are either round, oval, or if you want them to be square, you round the edges of them so there's not a right angle on them. There's reasons for doing that. There's lots of studies and so forth. Anyways, that's my recommendation, is to consider avoiding a square sticker. Okay. And the other thing that I would just keep this efficient, going back to the website, if on the page you click on when it opens up, if it just said underneath about us, it's the home page of the website. If we added click for a meeting in progress, it solves a lot of problems right there. In other words, whether the meetings are available or not suddenly becomes less important, because at the home page you can click on the link for a meeting in progress. Thanks.
That's right. And the Zoom link is the same, right?
Yeah.
So it could
That's
be.
smart.
That's a very good suggestion. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks.
Jonathan, you're worth your weight in potato chips.
Thanks.
Don't know how much you weigh. All right. Good. Yeah. Give them that suggestion. Then they don't have to, do 45 hours of programming, Paige.
Yeah, that's actually a great suggestion. Thank you.
Oh, the collective intelligence. Okay.
Great. Okay, so should we move on to the homeless resource guide then?
Yeah. All right. And you're going to
The
send
meat
that over to
of the
us.
meeting.
Fabulous. So I have a lot of materials for the homeless resource guide. I sent them to you before the meeting. We can display them now. If this is just what I'm culling from to create the guide. Did you guys see them? Jonathan, would you like to see them? We can show them if you like, and if not, we can move through this quickly.
I opt for the quick. I know your time is valuable. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So I sent this to Catherine and Paige. There's the NoHo Home Alliance. That's a front to back business card. That's really simple, and it's promoting only one local service, but it's a business card, which is what makes it practical. Then
Right.
did you say wait?
No, I was saying right.
Okay. Then the other item is the youth pocket guide. That's a front to back scan that I sent you. It's a sort of made it out of heavier weight,
Mhm.
flyer paper front to back, and it folds so
To
that
a business card.
it folds to the size of a business card. And so what I'm doing is, because this is
Brilliant.
youth centric, I'm taking all of the resources, evaluating which are, in my opinion, the most important. I'll share them with you, and we'll have several options, and you can help decide what the hierarchy of information is. And my suggestion is that we have one front to back flyer, which is easier to copy and distribute than the PowerPoint that was forwarded to us initially. Paige,
Mhm.
remember that from Louis Oliart,
Yes.
and a single two-sided business card. Easy to design, easy to print, easy to distribute, and cheap. You can put the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council logo on it. Boom, it's done. I should have this done by next month. I have calls out to a couple people. One guy, gal at Hope of the Valley. I'm awaiting materials from the LA County Supervisor. And again, there's no limit to the number of homeless resources available. What we're doing here is something that is hyper local. I don't want to be sending people to Canoga Park, to get a sandwich when they probably don't even have a car. So that's it. I do
Great.
have a couple questions. Catherine, you might have some local knowledge here. So if I'm looking at the Studio City Neighborhood Council Homeless Resource Guide that we are adapting for our purposes,
Mhm.
I'm going to get the specific person at LA County to include in this resource, who I believe, but I need to confirm, is Tyler Cash, the homeless policy deputy. But in the Studio City guide, they have the Vicky. Let's see, she's the. Let's see, what is she called? She's a business district representative. Do we have someone similar or analogous here at the Studio City Business Improvement District? Do we have a Toluca? I mean, we have the Toluca Lake Chamber.
Yeah, we don't have a business improvement district type setup, but the chamber would probably be the closest thing to that.
All right. I wonder if they'd even have such a resource, but I'll reach out to Shannon Hartman or to, I think it's Eric Garcia, and ask. All right. And we also have NoHo Improvement, Arts Improvement District. Then let's see.
I wonder, Tess, if to sort of parallel path things, if it would make sense I can use the one sample that you sent over. I think the folding business card size is really smart.
Yes.
I think there's just way too much information for us to get down to an actual business card.
Mhm.
But I think that folded piece is really clever. We could probably use those specs to start getting quotes.
Okay.
Because that way, while you're working on the content, we can also kind of be working on
All right.
the rest of it, because I know there is a time sensitivity with the getting these done before the end of the.
Okay, then let me give you the specs right now. Let me just measure, because you've got the printer hookup. Okay, so it's let's see, it's it's 3.5 inches wide
Mhm.
by 8.5 inches long.
Okay.
In precisely 4 parts, so I guess that makes it a trifold. I think that's the technical term. And it's a business card stock, so it's stiffer than regular paper.
Yeah, and is the entire thing stiffer? It's the whole thing is one stock, right?
Whole thing, yeah.
It's not like different paper
No.
on the inside, the folded part. Okay.
Good idea. Yeah, if you get quotes, that would be great.
Great. And then it looks like, I guess that's a quadrifold. I don't know what those are called.
There are in fact 3 folds, but sometimes I get confused.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
They call it something different than what it seems anyway.
Yeah.
So if there are 3 folds and 4 panels,
Yeah.
that would be quadrifold. If there are 3 panels, it's a trifold.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Quadrifold.
Jonathan has his hand up, Paige, FYI.
Oh, sorry about that. Jonathan.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Thank you. You don't need to read this to me. I'll just rely on trust that I would be very unhappy if, for the pamphlet, the first thing it should say is what it is and what its purpose is. That should be the very first paragraph or the first lines that anybody reads so they understand. Sometimes it's in the title, and sometimes there's a statement under the title, what they're about to read. My concern, as I said before, is that this should do nothing to regularize the social injustice of people living on the streets. So I think you should review it from the point of view that I'm going to follow what Catherine had said. I'm not speaking for stakeholders. I'm speaking for me. I don't want to see us do anything that normalizes what's going on out there. I'm happy with helping, but not regularizing it or trying to project that this is acceptable for people to live on our streets. Thanks.
That's important to keep in mind. Thank you for the input. Okay, great. So Tess, you are gathering the content. There's nothing we need to review at this time, but you're gonna.
Although, I guess it will come down to space. And when I've maxed out the space, then we'll have to I'll make some editorial decisions and come to you guys. But a couple of the things that I'm going to include apart from food and shelter, which I think are the primary ones, are there's legal aid, there's a safe parking resource where people can go. There are locations in Canoga Park, Northridge, and North Hills. I'm going to find out if there are any closer to Toluca Lake. That's a really big deal because you find, neighborhoods get a lot of RVs and people sleeping in cars. And I've helped a girl who was sleeping in her car on my street for several months get into housing. And instead of just telling them to leave, to talk to them nicely and direct them to an actual location where there are showers and bathrooms is such a good thing. So I will have that ready very soon.
So do you have, when you're talking about space, do you have a program that's allowing you to figure out how much will fit in that amount of space?
No, I mean, I'm just going to do it in a Word document and do something and create a PDF. I don't, if we want to get fancy, I can throw I'm going to throw a Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council logo on it.
Well, I was going to say if you, because once you have the content, I can put it into the design program that I used for the sticker and kind of just make sure that we, put the logo in and do the layout, give it some space.
Yeah, that's fine.
I can do that pretty quickly if you have all the content together.
Yeah, I will. I'll give it my best shot and then send it over to you. I'm sure you're better at it than I am, but I'm been pretty practical designing a lot of, easy things for a long time. So, but that's great.
Great.
The nicer it looks, the better. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Making progress. So you're anticipating having that content ready by the end of the month, you said?
Yes. In fact, yeah, I mean, if people get me what they're supposed to get me, I could have it done by, well, I don't want to say the end of the week, but yes, by the end of the month. Okay. Great. You're a tough taskmaster, Paige, but that's good.
I'm just making sure I get it down in the minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, excellent. And then future projects, I did put business cards on here because it's something that Nick has brought up at 2 of the meetings. I see he's not here tonight, but I did think it was worth us having a discussion. I know it's been mentioned that board members have had them in the past. We don't currently have anything that people can use in official settings. I think I certainly have an opinion on this, and I'll save it for last. I just wanted to hear what your thoughts were on whether that's something we should pursue.
If people want them, fine. If they're easy to make, personally, I don't want one or need one. So, but if Nick wants it, good. I mean,
and I think that's the key because they did give out business cards for everyone a couple years ago, and I have not touched mine once. I don't actually know where I put them.
Yeah,
I don't give out business cards.
Yeah, I think my feeling is just it's a bit of an outdated, I mean, I'm not sure how many people are really handing those out anymore. And I also, my day job, I sometimes work in sales, and there are times where I'm in places where that is, appropriate, but it's still very limited. And I just think in a capacity, this type of capacity, the other thought I had was that we had made the update to the bylaws to include language about, board members representing themselves, I forget the exact wording, so forgive me if I'm paraphrasing, but it was something about, not representing the organization without having, actually discussed that with the rest of the organization. And I wonder if just kind of giving board members business cards enables them to use those at meetings that may or may not be sanctioned.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a consideration, and hopefully people are adhering to their training on this regardless. It's one thing to give out a business card and say, hey, I'm on the neighborhood council. That sounds like something that we'd like to, learn more about, that we as the council would like to get involved in, or the council would like to hear about. Here's my business card, contact me. That's one thing. What we don't want is someone going out and saying, I'm on neighborhood council, and offering things as the neighborhood council.
Right.
And so that it really comes down to training, not representing yourself as taking a position for the council unless that's been voted on, not
Right.
saying the council will do XYZ, just saying the council would like to hear from you.
Right.
The council would be interested in this, come to a meeting. Like,
Right.
well, it's a tool that can be used for good or not so good. I mean, let's trust people to do it right. If we hear that somebody's misusing it, I mean, I think there are more than enough regulations to put a stop to that. And it's a cheap way to promote and to do outreach. People who like having business cards distribute a lot of them. I
Right.
personally don't use them that much anymore, hardly ever. But I know that when I first got business cards, there wasn't a person in a 2-mile radius who didn't have one.
Right.
So, it's good outreach.
Sure. Okay. So we'll say that if there are any board members who want to request them, we can do that.
Yeah, why not?
Do we know if there's a previous template that was used to create the other ones? So there'd be a consistent.
there should be, and Colby or Robin might know about it, or they might need to ask some former board members, because I think it's been a while. Like, I think it was back when Julian was still here. So
I think Jonathan has
Okay.
his hand up.
Oh, okay. Jonathan, go ahead.
Thanks. I wonder, I'm remembering that when it originally got discussed, that I think there was some concern about what we call special needs, or a special accommodation. So I don't care if you have them or you don't have them, but be sure that every board member is asked if they believe they need them as a special accommodation for a handicap, because I heard someone say something. Okay, thanks.
Okay, good note. Okay. And then other future projects was really just an opportunity in case there are anything else that we should discuss and put on the docket. I know we have at least one more meeting coming up. So I think if we can finish the sticker and get it printed, finish the resource guide and get it printed, we can get Nick some business cards. That'll be a lot to kind of get in under the wire before the year ends. But just in case there were any other thoughts for things we should tackle, or at least put, for next session items. I thought it
quick
was worth discussing.
note on the funding piece.
Mhm.
I am not 100% sure when exactly the cutoff is, but
Mhm.
I think the cutoff for any sort of funding stuff might be May 1st as opposed to June 1st.
Right.
So if that's the case, we might not be able to actually
Oh.
fund the business cards this fiscal year. That might have to happen next year.
Okay.
But we can be like ready with all the information ready to go and do that at one of the first meetings.
So does that mean we need to put the funding motion for the homeless resource guide on this upcoming agenda?
If you want it printed within, like, if you want it printed before, I would say August.
Yeah, I think that was the hope, was
Yeah.
that we would kind of get it in
Yeah,
this budget year. And
yeah, let's put in for it. I mean, you
Okay.
know, the worst that can happen, it's going to get approved. It's just a matter of how much and
sure.
what the money is there for. So,
How many do we think we would anticipate printing of those?
why don't you cost out what a run of 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 would be? I mean, I would,
Okay.
what I do when I'm printing in large quantities, I would print 1,000 first to see how they're received.
Right.
The user feedback before printing the next batch, because something obvious may have escaped us that would be an easy improvement to make in the next run.
Okay.
So, I would just price it out in batches of 500 and 1,000.
That makes sense. And then because we're going to be suggesting a funding motion, I mean, the meeting is next week, or is it 2 weeks? It's 2 weeks. Right? Yes.
But that would be, I guess, another item to send to Robin tonight for the executive committee.
Yes, absolutely, which I will do, but I'm just thinking it probably would be nice if, while we're doing a funding motion for it, if we have at least something to kind of show.
Yeah, so the presentation would probably come at the general board meeting, unless Robin feels or Colby feels it's important that it be discussed at exec in advance.
Right.
I don't think they would.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you would have about 2 weeks until, what day is the meeting this month? Is that the 19th? Yeah, the 19th.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Excellent. Okay. So then there probably are not any other projects that we can get in this year then with the timing.
I can't think of, what else could we do at this point? I can't,
Right.
I'm sure there's something, I can't think of it.
Well, and it sounds like now one of the other future projects at least is going to be tackling what to do about the votetolegalleague.org site.
Yeah, I mean, the website itself, assuming nothing's gone wrong, it
was great.
Pretty,
yeah, I remember.
Pretty manageable. Like, most of it was built. I can't go in and make all of the changes, but I had access to the back end of the website and was able to go in and update things as, new candidates signed up, as we got more information about when and where our elections were, which took a surprising amount of time for anyone to answer those questions.
Right.
At the city, not within Gtlnc.
Do you know why that was created as a separate website as opposed to just being part of the gtlnc.org?
So I think the main reason was to create a separation, in the same way that, people who are elected officials, city council members, Congress people, whatever, they are not permitted to use their official website as their, their work website for campaigning. So they all have separate campaign websites. And so I think that was the motivation, to make sure that it doesn't allow any undue influence for, if you see, hey, someone that is currently on the board wouldn't be potentially getting precedence or something. It was just to create that sort of separation between current sitting board and this is the election.
Got it.
And one of the things that has been suggested in the past is that whoever is sort of lead on the election piece of this not be running again. Now, that's sort of difficult to make happen. I have no idea, Paige, if you plan to run again at this point. It's a year away, but if you are the head of outreach and elections and you're planning to run, it might be a good idea to sort of deputize or have a co-chair that isn't planning to run again.
Got it.
Because for instance, there was an issue when we were planning for our last election and the what's it called, the candidate forum, and because I was running, I took myself out of any conversations about what questions ought to be asked at the candidate forum, because that was unfair for me to have input into what I was going to be asked.
Right. Got it. No, that makes total sense. Okay, and that's good to know. Great. Okay, is there anything else that anyone would like to share or go over?
Not at this time. Thank you.
All right, then I have a couple of follow-up items for myself. I know Tess has a couple as well. I will get those sent out this evening, the ones that are immediate. And I think we can go ahead and close the meeting at 7:13.
Great.
Well-
Thank you.